You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob City After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob City After Show.
Hello. Welcome to the Mob City AFTERBUZZ TV After Show. I'm your host, Ryan Hooks, coming at you live. Across from me today on the panel, we have the lovely, the amazing Miss Anik Dufour.
Hello.
And joining us today, a very beautiful, very special, talented guest, Miss Natasha Estrada.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, welcome. I'm just going to go ahead and point it out right now. Natasha Estrada, very first episode of Mob City.
Very pivotal.
Very, for me,
yes.
Turning point of the series.
Yes.
Absolutely no lines. In the house, the burlesque house. Walks down the stairs in a bright yellow, gorgeous dress. Stole everyone's eye.
Yes, yes. Actually, I was wearing lingerie in that scene. So.
Even better.
But yes, it was probably the most important role of my career thus far. So walking down those stairs,
You know, Detective Joe Teague gave you the eye.
He certainly did.
I absolutely saw that.
And Hecky called me Peaches,
Yeah.
which that was actually a really fun scene to shoot. I probably walked up and down those stairs, 20 or 30 times.
It's great for the legs.
It was all improv. So every time he would say something different, and we just to wait to see what stuck. And so it was a lot of fun, yeah.
Peaches it is.
Peaches.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Peaches joining us in the studio here for our Mob City After Show. Thank you for coming today. Today we're going to be talking about episodes number 5 and number 6. Episode 5, Oxpecker. Still have yet to determine the meaning of that. Who was the Oxpecker? And episode 6, Stay Down.
What is an Oxpecker?
I think it's just fun to say. So
Oxpecker.
I feel
Oxpecker,
like it could relate to a lot of people. I mean, is Carl the Oxpecker because he's the stool? Is Tug the Oxpecker because, he shot those people? It's to be debated. It's for you to decide. Let us know, audience, what you think, and we'll go from there. Let's jump right into it. So I want to know right off the bat, what are your ladies' impressions of the entire series as a whole, and second, your impressions of these 2 episodes?
Did you want to go first?
Take it away.
Okay. I actually like the whole series. I'm hoping that they do pick it up. The 2 episodes tonight, actually the second one was my favorite.
The very climactic ending episode?
Yes, which I loved, by the way.
A lot of man cake in this episode.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Especially for us.
Pinstripe suits and man cake, absolutely.
Man cake.
Natasha, what do you think about the episodes? But same question to you, both this 2 episodes and also the entire series as a whole.
Well, the series as a whole is really a dream come true for a gal like me who is completely enamored of the era entirely. So visually, it's absolutely thrilling and arousing for somebody like me. I love to see the costuming and the set decorations and the makeup and hair. Every aspect of it is just really satisfying for me.
Very stimulating.
Yeah, it is. And I really enjoy to see something like that. And I think it depicts such a controversial time in Los Angeles history. So it's really compelling from a storyline point of view as well. So not to mention all the aforementioned
aforementioned stimuli, if you will. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that aspect of it's a really compelling storyline, a very pivotal moment in history, especially for people from Los Angeles who know a lot of the history or have family who have lived through the history.
Yes.
As well as, I think right now on TV, and I said this before, so much people are trying to make too many episodes of a show. You're trying to get a story of 20, 30, 60 episodes, and you're losing audience members fast. When you do something like this where you're doing 6 episodes, I think 10 would have been the perfect amount of episodes for the series. They could have drug it out a couple more, added some more details, made it a
brought me back.
Made it a mini series, brought
More
you back,
stairs
absolutely,
for me
more
to walk
stairs,
down.
more burlesque acts.
Yeah.
then they could have been marketed very well as a 10-part miniseries, similar to like a Band of Brothers or a Pacific that has done so well because of the time period, because of the story. You know, and I think that would have been a good goal for them. So now we're interested to see then what they end up doing with this.
Right.
Yes.
Like I said, my initial impressions are, I like the idea of the series, and I wish 4 more episodes would have been enough for me, I think. So
I think what they were trying to do is just to see whether or not people would kind of get attached to it. They kind of did the same thing with Walking Dead. Like the first season was like 6 episodes, and then, you know, they gradually added on more episodes per season. So I think they just kind of wanted to see how like the audience would react to it.
But like I said, it has been sort of marketed as a miniseries in the aspect of this 6-part miniseries. Join us for 3 weeks, you know, special, exclusive, whatever.
Right.
Well, it's a great marketing ploy, you know, to get somebody, it's like limited time only to jump on this train. And if there is enough interest in something, yeah, you're more likely, if you know that it's only, there's an expiration date on it, you're more likely to jump in. And
especially
be a
now,
part of
it's
it.
December, there's nothing on TV.
Right.
All the shows have taken hiatus for Christmas. So, you know, this was filmed earlier and designed to be aired in December. When I found out about it in September, October, I'm like, why are they airing this in December? What goes on in December? There's nothing on in December. So I like that idea. I think, too, then, for people that have invested in all 6 episodes, it started off a little bit slow.
Yes, very slow.
For the first 2 episodes, for sure, there was a lot of development. But I definitely think these last 2 episodes really, really picked up. And if they keep a show going with this kind of intensity, I think it would be very, very popular.
I think that there's no way they could not follow this kind of they're on a steam train and it's going to keep going. So there's so many exciting plots and storylines that are open right now. So I think it would be really exciting to see. And I love also the aspect that this is based on historical events as well. So even knowing, and even while we were watching it and knowing to a point what's going to happen, it's still exciting to see it play out and how it's going to unfold. And
absolutely, yes. Shout out to one of our followers, Megan Prescott, who posted a comment on our YouTube feed about the show she watched last week, and made a comment, spoiler alert, that Bugsy was killed by an M1 rifle. And that's actually the same rifle that Joe Teague uses in the episode when he rolls his rifle up in episode 1, when he pulls that out of his trunk again in episode 3, and also when he kills Bugsy Siegel at the end of the episode here. So a little foreshadowing in history, but, you know.
Well played.
We knew it was coming, but at the same time, I was still excited to see it.
Yes.
So yes. And also she mentioned to us as well, the blonde in the casino last week from episode 4, her name was Claire.
Claire.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you, Megan Prescott, for that comment on
Megan
YouTube.
Is on it.
She is on it because apparently we both missed it. So we appreciate that. Which brings me to my next point. I love segues, as you know.
Yes.
All of us out there in the world, you love the internet. We love iTunes. So feel free to go on iTunes because you want to know how you can help us out. We do these shows for free. All our content is streamed live to you for free. We have over 60 episodes of podcasts on a weekly basis. If you want to go out there, you can go onto our iTunes feed, give us a 5-star rating, give us a comment, tell us what you think, tell your friends. Make sure you download Mob City. Make sure you check out all the other shows that we have here to offer. And we look forward to seeing you out there in the internet cyber world. Go on the Facebook, go on the Twitter, join us.
On the Twitter.
On the Twitter, on the Facebook, on the Instagram. It's so much better to say it like that.
It's more official that way.
I went to The Ohio State University, so to me, adding a "the" in front of everything makes it better.
We are the after show.
We are the AfterBuzz After TV show for the Mob City. On the Twitter, on the iTunes, on the Instagram. 5-star rating. Give us a follow. Give us a shout out. Look forward to hearing from you. All right.
I actually wanted to say something about your previous topic, which you're talking about.
Yes, Mr. Stephen Lemieux in the booth here, coming in.
Hey guys,
making an impression. Comments. Go.
So when you have a 6-episode series like this, and when they sell this to a network, it's much easier to sell a 6-episode story that can get people hooked than it is to sell a 13 waiting on a back 9. So what's really great about something like this is they don't need to worry so much about packing everything into a pilot and having people kind of, you know,
sensory overload, if you will.
I mean,
that's Natasha's area, not ours.
Yeah, you don't want to peak before you don't want to peak and fizzle out in a 6-episode or even in a 13.
No, you don't.
So that was the problem we had with Vegas, which is a kind of a similar historical, more mob-oriented show,
which was a great show.
Mm-hmm. It was a great show, but it didn't get picked up because it peaked too early in the season. At the end, you were kind of left, you know, uncertain. So when you have 6 episodes, yeah, pretty much. So when you have 6 episodes, you can have a stable pilot, have a build-up, have a great 2 finale episodes, as you've said, that these 2 episodes have been the best. Strongest. And now they're going to have no trouble getting someone to pick it up for maybe a full 12 next season.
we'll find out. And later on in the show, we are going to be talking about the show's ending and some of the features of that. So stay tuned for that, but not quite yet. I'm going to tease you just a little bit longer. Absolutely. So moving into that, with some of the impressions and some of the comparisons that we've been talking about, I want to go back to what we talked about last week again with the directorial comparison between the shows. Because as you know, episodes 1, 2, 3, and episode 6 were directed by Frank Darabont, and episodes 4 and 5 were directed by Guy Ferland.
Right.
So they split that up a little bit in some of the duties. And as you were commenting earlier, and I also noticed a lot in the 3rd and 4th episode, a huge comparison difference between the way that the show was shot. There was a lot more light aspect in the Guy Ferland episode 4, versus the Frank Darabont, who has consistently had a very dark, rainy, red flashy light style. And again, I commented last week as well about maybe getting lost in some of this style. Did you notice as much of a difference this week in the 2 episodes, or do you think they were more along the same lines? Maybe they had a conversation and said, "Hey, we need to figure this out, and we need to get on the same page."
I think they kind of went back to like maybe a little bit on the same page. I think Guy kind of like is more into the eye candy per se, as in like colors, and and Frank is more into like the details and like the storyline itself. I actually, I prefer the Frank versions.
I as well. I'm a bit partial. But
you're a bit partial to Frank Darabont episode 1. Yes, that is my favorite episode as well.
But I think a bit like we talked about, there are so many details, and especially when you're doing something that has a period specific nature, with the voices and talking, and
when you talk like this,
exactly, it's very distracting. Yes, as well as costuming. There's so many aspects to keep in mind that I felt like they finished really strong with the overall tone, and I loved the visual. How it was very pleasing.
Yes, I noticed at the end too they used a lot of rain in both the last 2 episodes, but there was a good contrast, I think, as well as both episodes. It wasn't just all dark. There was the scenes at the Biltmore when it was in the daytime. There was some different scenes at the train station where there was a lot more light aspect in the show and the contrast that they were using that they didn't have, I think, in episode 3 and 4.
I think it complemented also the story.
I think so.
And it played very well as what was about to unfold.
Right. And I think it's interesting to note as well, then, based on the directorial comparison, Guy Ferland has done TV. Most of his major credits have been on various TV shows. So he's familiar with shooting a 1-hour episode, whereas most of Frank Darabont's major credits have come from movies, Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, and that kind of stuff. So he's used to being able to develop a style over 2 to 3 hours, whereas Guy Ferland's used to saying, "This is what we need to do. We need to do it in 45 minutes."
Yeah,
with
much
commercials.
more efficient.
And he's very efficient in his style. So there's a lot of balance in that. But yeah, I think there was a lot more consistency this week in the 2 episodes that we didn't get in the last couple of weeks.
Right. And I think for this type of show, I don't think that we want, I don't know, maybe we do, but I wouldn't want to see something like just like an ordinary like TV show, like a 45-minute type. So I kind of go more towards the Frank version as to the Guy version. Because especially for this type of show.
Right. You definitely feel like you're seeing a full-length feature, and it has that mood, and it grasps you. It definitely pulls you in just off the,
And two, showing it, showing it 2 hours at a time, it's like you're sitting in a movie almost, because we sat in there and watched it for 2 hours each week instead of doing 6 weeks of 1 hour. So. Yeah.
Over an extended period of time, though, I find that dark tone can be a little... it does pull you down. But I felt that a lot of the text and the script played off that well. There were some funny moments in there, some unexpected little jokes that brought some laughter in, and so that was kind of a nice contrast.
Now, do you think that they could have done more with that? Do you think there could have been more episode moments where they had some comedy between some of the characters, or they had a little bit lighter note?
I think so. Obviously, the storyline is much more driven towards the violence and the drama. But I think that perhaps more of a lighthearted tone in parts of it could have added to it.
So now I'm going to throw you a big curveball. Where do you think that those parts could have been in the show? We'll specifically stick to episodes 5 and 6. We just watched them. Where in those episodes do you think that there could have been more comedy?
I loved when Jasmine hit John. I think they could have put like a little something in there.
When she was slapping him?
Yeah.
And then kissing him and then slapping him again?
If only I had a nickel for every time I've been there.
And I agree, that was when I was actually thinking about that, is I think that there could have been more comedy between them because they have a past relationship.
Right.
So they would know how to tease each other in a serious way, but still be joking and flirty and playful and fun that other characters maybe wouldn't have. So I think they could have done more with that.
Yeah, there definitely could have been a lot more tenderness in between their relationship since that's been established. Absolutely.
Especially in the scene where, where they had their moment. Even with Shermer standing on the balcony watching creepy like.
Yes.
So, and there was that joke there where he said, "It's nothing I haven't seen. I was on your balcony all night."
Right, yeah.
So we did get that little playful moment there as well.
That's just creepy.
Well,
I mean, if the guy was like, Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt or something.
Because it's creepy Leslie Shermer, you don't like it. But if it would have been Johnny Depp standing on your balcony, that's fine.
He's kind of creepy, right? Like
different strokes for different folks, okay?
Yeah,
don't knock it till you try it. That's all I'm saying.
I'll have to try it.
I mean, we're going down a rabbit hole here, folks.
We are. It's going quickly.
Break check. If I start talking like this, will you come back to the show and follow me?
I felt that there could have been more humor between also Bugsy and his pal. Why is his name escaping me?
Meyer Lansky?
Right. We did get a little bit of that as well, but again, because their relationship was established and they had a history. Yeah, I felt like between friends sometimes, even though obviously their business wasn't humorous, but I felt like when you're dealing with a friend or somebody that's familiar in any capacity, you have a little bit more leeway to be lighthearted.
I understand that. There was some tension in that situation, though, because obviously Meyer Lansky was there on his own accord to talk with Bugsy Siegel about the hit that he had performed a few weeks earlier in episode 1.
Okay, so maybe not the best
and
crack jokes.
Also, basically telling him that he owed them $1 million of all this money that he's been spending on his Flamingo Hotel in Vegas that they didn't want to invest in any longer.
Yeah.
But I agree, there could have been a moment or two that still I don't think would have taken away. And I guess
we had that in the beginning when he showed up to his house and he's got that.
And he had the guitar in front of him.
All the gals, yeah.
But that wasn't his house though. That was somebody else's house. Because they said he went over to his house and his wife was there.
That's right.
And then he was at somebody else's house. I think too, this episode, and I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out right now, lacked some Jeremy Luke in there. I didn't get enough Mickey Cohen because he has been our comic relief, I think, in most of, especially at the end of episode 4.
The banana scenes.
Yep, and again, he had the banana tie, which I tweeted out earlier.
Banana tie.
In episode 5, which we did love.
I'll never look at bananas the same way again.
You didn't like bananas in the first place.
I know, but I'll still never look at them the same way.
Well, I like bananas. How do you feel about bananas?
I love a good banana.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
A ripe one.
As opposed to a green one that gets shoved on the backside. Okay.
Well,
I can leave right now. It's fine. You all can
I mean, this is a big desk. All right, so let's get away from that right now. Let's talk about some character interactions here then a little bit. So we talked about a little bit before the show started the interactions between Ned and Joe. Do you think that Ned and Joe and their interactions throughout the entire series and even these 2 episodes have been somewhat compromising? I guess is a good word for it. Because there's always that borderline where they're who's on what side of right, who's on what side of wrong.
Yeah.
Is Ned really a good guy at heart, just works for the bad guys because they pay his bills? Is Joe really a bad guy, but works for the good guys because he can get away with it?
That's a good question, I think, especially as the last few episodes. It's, everything, all of his actions weren't necessarily driven by a greater good.
They've always been driven by Jasmine.
Exactly.
In the entire series.
And does that necessarily justify him as a good guy because he's fighting for love?
If you're Jasmine, it does.
Yes, good point.
Anything on that?
I don't know. Like I was confused in these last 2 episodes because you see, I was going to call him Milo. It's not Milo.
Ned Stack. Milo's fine too.
Because you see Ned is saying, he's giving Joe information as to, where Bugsy's going to be and like, what time and stuff like that for him to be there.
He's helping him out, yeah.
Right, he's helping him out. And then it's kind of like he kind of like goes kind of behind, I don't want to say behind his back because he doesn't really go behind his back, but he kind of like, I don't know, like I think the whole relationship just got...
kind of steps down a little bit. And I agree. And I think that in this series, a lot of the content has been targeted at police corruption, which in the big picture, we haven't really seen a whole lot of police corruption. I mean, with the exception of Joe and his, rogue cop behavior, if you will, where he's basically on his own mission, his own vendetta to do things to help Jasmine and go against the mob. And he's our corrupt cop based on everyone else that they interact with, all the people in the mob squad and Bill Parker, the police, soon to be police chief. all of them are doing things for the right reasons.
So we think.
True.
So we have
So
seen
far.
episode 1 through 6 doing things for the right reasons.
But see, I don't find Joe to be corrupt.
That
I
means
just-
you're a romantic.
I know.
I
think.
just don't.
Because he didn't take the money, which he could have,
mean,
but he
yeah.
did kill Hecky, and he didn't tell anyone about it. So I mean, there's that
Yeah,
contrast
but
of
Hecky was checking his lady.
Yeah, so it's like I don't
Yeah, it's a tough
consider him
call.
to be corrupt.
But I did think it was interesting to see their exchange without words. It's very subtle, but very prominent as well. After he murdered Bugsy and walks back in,
Right.
slyly.
drives in with the police.
And then, like, Ned
yeah,
knows,
yeah, you
like-
can see that moment where it was actually a really great moment when he realizes that you kind of see like all of the wrinkles on his forehead clear,
And he's still covered in blood from getting
Yes.
beat up not a couple hours earlier. Obviously,
Right.
if he wasn't doing something else, he would have been cleaning the blood off his face.
Right.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and there's so many places it could take.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that was unexpected on the part of Ned Stack, because when obviously at the end of that show, he comes and talks to him at the bar.
Right.
And he says, that's not me. And obviously they were in the war together, so he knows what type of person Teague is, and he knows the things he'll do, the extent he'll go, because obviously
Right.
he even talked about in episode 3 and 4 that if it wasn't for Joe Teague, everyone in their platoon would have died. He got them out, and he saved them all. So he knows to the extremes that he's willing to go to protect things that he cares about.
Right.
So
And how many beatings can that guy's face take?
his face,
Yeah.
he's a mug anyway. That's why he was cast in this role. He's got a perfect mug for a mob movie. Camertho, I apologize.
I can't
You're a great
help-
actor, but your mug.
I can't help but think of zombies whenever I see him. I know.
I know. Walking Dead, we miss you. Come back. Well, let's not go down that rabbit hole either. All right, so we're getting distracted. It's fine. So on the same note, we're talking about Joe, with Joe and Jasmine. So in this episode, we see Joe and Jasmine obviously hooking up.
Right.
Obviously talking also about no expectations. And yet, were there expectations?
I don't know. Like, I'm confused as to whether or not she kind of just used them for the key, or whether or not she's like having feelings for him again.
As a woman, you of course would go immediately down that road. As a male, I would look at it as, is Joe creating feelings? But go ahead, Natasha, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, again, with the what you just brought up between Joe's relationship with Ned and them having history and the nature of it, knowing what kind of man that he is. Obviously, Jasmine and Joe were married, so she knows what kind of man he is, and I think thus knows what he's capable of, both emotionally and, strong-willed man, that one. So I think that to say there's no expectations, both sides knew, but I did feel that little woman's intuition, if you will, peak. Like it wasn't trustworthy from her point. It felt a little sneaky.
I felt that she had a lot of apprehension towards it, but I felt like he was more into it. Like, I think that's what he's been fighting for the whole time. From the very beginning, that's his goal. Episode 1, the reason to kill a man, or episode 2,
Right.
rather, the reason he killed a man was because of a woman.
Right.
But
know.
is her intention also
But that's what we
that
were saying.
reciprocated?
I think not.
Yes.
I think her intention was more about getting the key, getting out of the situation,
Right.
finding herself. But she made the comment too then in the episode where she said, "You didn't choke me in my sleep." So there's obviously some change that's happened in him in the last few years since they've been
Right.
apart. Has he grown because of his post-traumatic war stress? Has he become a better person? In the big picture. Decisions.
I think I'd have to sleep with him to find out.
Regardless, there you have it, an official offer. Camertho, if you're available, Natasha Estrada is willing.
He's
Only as the
married.
character. Only as the character.
We don't want to go
Only if
there.
he talks
Ro-
like this.
Role play.
Yes.
Yes.
Wears a hat.
Oh, maybe
Wait,
we will
what did
do.
they say? What did they say that one scene
Which?
where I think was it like after?
What are we doing?
Yeah,
This is
what
trouble.
are we doing? This is trouble.
Or it feels like trouble.
This feels like trouble.
It feels like trouble. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know any guy who would ever look at a girl who's trying to seduce him and say, "This feels like trouble. Let's not do this." I'm just going to throw that out there as a truth. Writers, you're wrong. It feels like trouble. I'm absolutely going to do it. Are you kidding? Yes. Where do I sign up?
Well, he done did it, obviously.
Yeah.
So
But
there was-
he shares your sentiment.
Obviously, he did
Exactly.
it and not going to. I mean, who doesn't like a little Jasmine Fontaine in their life? But yeah, so again, I feel like there was an interesting contrast in that. And, you know, two, then we show some more of the extent that Joe's willing to go when he grabs the hand grenade out of Shermer's hand and squeezes his hand, knocks him out, but still continues to hold the hand grenade. And actually, I thought that was a little bit more of a comical scene, even with that aspect, because it was really tense and it's built up and there's this locker and there's nothing in the locker and he grabs her and pulls a grenade. There's this whole Mexican standoff, if you will, of his grenade, the mob's guns, plus all the police officers that work at the train station.
And everybody's just looking like...
And the guy that is friends with Joe, which his name I don't know, said, hey, easy guys, this isn't the OK Corral.
Yeah.
So, you know, waiting for this gunfight to happen, you know, and they say, take it easy, everyone, this guy's just choking on a chicken bone to get the crowd to go away.
Right.
So,
yes.
So I liked that little moment there as well. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit more about you, Natasha.
Oh, okay.
I want you to tell us more about you. So obviously, as I said before, you're in episode 1. And you were cast in the show because of your burlesque experience.
Right.
So I want to hear more about that.
I started performing burlesque about 10 years ago, and I've always just been very captivated and inspired by showgirls and any eras from the 20s through the 60s, really. And yeah, I mean, what girl doesn't want to dress up in amazing clothes and makeup and travel around the world dancing? It's like well, it was my dream.
And what guy doesn't want to like and watch a girl who dresses up in sketchy clothes and dances around?
Wait, now, sketchy?
Well, so there is that line, right, with the burlesque where it becomes risque versus raunchy, if you will. And, you know, where do you draw that line? I mean, do you yourself have a set up system where you say, you know what, this is as far as I will go in a show? Or is it show by show? Or is it, you know?
Well, I think that you stay true to yourself as an artist. I feel that sounds a little, but it's true, you know, for everybody that line is very different. And so as long as you are staying true to you and your style, then, and your artistic beliefs and creativity, then, you know, that's up for the spectator to decide, I suppose.
For viewers at home to decide what is too far and what is not far enough.
Exactly, yes. So, yeah, I had been performing for many years, and I got the call to come in for the show. And I didn't really know that much about it, but it sounded really exciting.
Right up your alley.
Right up my alley, indeed. And I came in for the makeup and hair test, and that was really fun. They took a bunch of photos of us and printed sort of vintage posters with our images. So that was really exciting.
That's pretty cool.
And then I got asked to actually, after they saw photos, they sent them to Frank, and I got asked to come in and audition for a bigger role. And I did, and I thought it went great, but I didn't get the part.
And you read for Frank when he was in there?
No, he wasn't there. It was another, but he chose a few girls based off their photos, and yeah, and just off our personalities in general. And so I came in and read, and it was all improvised. So it was really fun to even sort of research for the role too, looking up the lingo and, you know, how would one talk and carry themselves, what would they wear, their hair and makeup. So the day of shooting was also a ton of fun. It was a bunch of us, and then he handpicked again me to
handpicked again. The beautiful Natasha Estrada, everyone.
So yeah, that was pretty exciting, and it's a good thing I'm good at walking up and downstairs.
Your scene captured that was the scene for me. I'm sorry. Watch you walking downstairs. I said I got to get that girl on the show. Showstopper, if you will.
Were you at all like, please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall?
Oh God, that's probably all I was thinking the entire time. No, like I said, it was very laid back, easygoing. Frank was so fun to work with, and so were the guys. And I think they might have been a little nervous too, because there was a lot going on down the stairs. Yes.
Now, were you involved in other scenes as well, with some of the club scenes and stuff?
Yeah, but those were just kind of, you know, extras. Like, we were just walking around. But it was so great to be involved in. I mean, they really went above and beyond, and it was exceptional, just the entire setup.
Yeah, the whole set was very nice.
Yeah, so I was really excited to find out that the show was happening, and also I couldn't wait for it to come out and see what the final product was going to be. So again, for anybody who is a vintage enthusiast, it's really a dream come true visually, and I love to see men dressed up like that, and There's something, like I was saying as we were watching it, every guy was like, ooh, he's sexy too. I found something appealing. Like, everybody is instantly more appealing and attractive once they put on
Not since the movie Black Hawk Down has there been this much man candy in a TV show.
Well, it's very much appreciated. It's a nice change.
Yeah,
would you agree? Yes.
definitely.
I mean, I love a pretty lady as well. It's, it's great to see, but I think it's really nice to be able to have a little something to,
For us.
Yes.
Who doesn't love a little Gilmore Girls throwback? And actually, speaking of throwbacks, there was a little throwback in this episode that I caught at the very end of part of episode 6. They actually commented and talked about Lucky Luciano, who is another famous mob person. They just threw his name out. It's like, oh, and don't forget about Lucky. So I really liked that little thing there. Sorry, sidetracked note. Do you have any more shows coming up in the future that our audience could check you out?
I do. I have a show January 13th in Hollywood. So I might be doing a secret show this Friday. It's not a secret anymore. But you can go on my website. I list my calendar and everything that I'm doing.
And what's your website?
It's natashaestrada.com.
Don't worry, you'll get that again, folks. All right, so this has been, the build-up has been killing me. It's been killing me, and I want to talk about it right now because I can't wait any longer. I'm sorry. I want to talk about the end of the show. So I was actually taking notes when I was watching the show, and I marked down 3 different points to me that could have been endings of the show.
Okay.
Do you think that what they chose at the end of the show was the appropriate ending of the show?
I honestly didn't think they were going to kill him off so fast. I mean, like, I knew, like, at 47, I knew that's when Bugsy,
Right.
was killed off, and I knew it was, like, through a shot through
All
the
the
window.
components were
The
there.
M1 through the
Right.
window, and then you knew the history of Bugsy getting
Right,
killed.
I knew the history, but I didn't think that they were going to do it, like, in the first 6 episodes. It's like, there goes Ed Burns.
Right. Ruin that. Sorry. One less man candy.
Exactly.
And
Hey,
what a
Frank,
good man
I'm available
candy
if you need
that was.
anybody. All right. Because, okay, so here's, I'll tell you what I wrote down, and I'll talk about my thoughts, and you talk about your thoughts as well. So to me, there was 3 pinnacle endings. Obviously, the way they ended the show with Mickey and Meyer having the sit-down, talking about needing the pound of flesh, a little Tempest Shakespeare reference there. Basically, he's wanting the money that is owed to him by Bugsy. Doesn't care where it comes from. They need to find out. So setting up potentially for a continuation. Also, at the end, when Teague's at the bar having scotch, and he comes in, we see Jasmine in Arizona, and then Ned Stack comes in and says, LA's a powder keg, and it's only going to get worse. And then they show him burning pictures. To me, I think that burning pictures, showing that scene about the powder keg, and ending the show would have been enough for me. I don't know if I needed that extra little bit with Meyer and Meyer Lansky and Mickey Cohen. And because even before that, you could have even ended it when he said, "That's my final offer,"
Right.
after he killed
Right.
him. That could have ended the show as well. That would have been
Right.
like a pinnacle, my final offer.
Yeah.
Boom. End scene. And I was even sitting there watching, like, that could have been it. So what did you think about the way that they chose to end it when they have potentially 3 very dramatic endings?
I don't know. Like, like I said, I didn't think that they were going to kill him off so fast into, like, the season. I thought at least, another season or 2, they would get rid of him. But I didn't think that they were. Like you said about him burning the pictures,
Yeah.
I think they could have ended it there. I think maybe the reason why they added with what's his name?
Meyer Lansky and
Yes.
Mickey Cohen.
is just to show that, okay, Cohen is going to be like the next big wig.
And they commented
thing.
on the show that he potentially isn't going to be the next big wig because, and that's the scene right before that, he says, do you really think that they're going to let Mickey Cohen take over this operation?
Right.
Absolutely not. That he is by no means fit for that, and somebody else is going to come in, and then that's going to start a war because he's not going to take it. And then also we're going to see stuff with, the Central Avenue group, if you will, guru group, whatever, and they're going to have some kind of war that's going to start.
Right.
So
Yeah. As much as I hate to admit it, because I love me some Ed Burns, I do think that we needed that big kill in this first series. We needed something, significant to happen, and a big payoff, if you will. So it was really well done, you know, like you said, there was all these components, there was tons of suspense, even if you knew all the signs pointed to what was going to happen, it was still very exciting and thrilling. You know, I felt myself like kind of on the edge of my seat and tensing up just to see it unfold. I'm with you though. I feel like I loved that line. It was so great. The my final offer.
Yeah.
You know. And again, yeah, I loved the scene in the bar, and I did feel like that last little moment sort of took away. It was kind of like you're starting the beginning of something else, but I don't know that it was necessary because yes, again, I think that it's a smart audience, and we all took away those points and knew, you know, what will happen if the show is picked up. There are all of these strings left untied, so I don't know that was necessary, and I felt like it was kind of like yes, and then. Yeah. You know, I didn't feel like it went out strong with that last little part. I sort of felt like they were beating the nail on the head a little bit.
Pulling the Lord of the Rings and having 7 endings to a movie that could have ended 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Now, do you think, though, so given the same scenes, so say we have all those scenes and we have to get them in the episode because we need time slot to fill, do you think that using those scenes, if they would have organized them in a different manner, that they would have played or, you know, maybe done something differently for you?
I felt like maybe that last scene could have happened in a different sequence. And I think like it was kind of just making sure that people knew, like, okay, you're gonna tell one more time for the people in the back. That's kind of how that one.
Obviously, we need for the killing to happen, for the scene to happen, obviously. So we need that to at least be the first potential scene of the final ending. And, you know, again, not to take away from that line, my final offer, which...
It was gold.
It was gold. So we could have thrown it in there in the middle and then gone back. I think with the other scene, though, and the ending with when Stack and Teague are talking at the bar, I would have liked to see the picture burning happening beforehand. Maybe having them burn the pictures and then having be like, this is a powder keg, and it's only going to get worse. And that could have been another great ending line to the show that still, to me, could have set up for a lot more action, a lot more episodes to come, potentially. You know, we're still hoping to hear more about this. That could have been a good close, though. That I would have felt satisfied with that.
Yeah,
I could jump on board with that one. I
think we should be the writers for next season.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You picking up what I'm throwing down here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, usually in the show here, this is where we go into the predictions for the next week's episode. Can I get a sound effect, please? Can I get some flashing lights? There's some flashing lights. There it is.
TV.
I predict more stairs.
You predict more? Okay, so obviously we don't know of any more scheduled shows. However, I want to do some predictions anyway.
Okay.
I want to hear what you guys have to say, you lovely ladies. If the show gets picked up, what do you think are some things that will potentially happen in the show? So let's hope the show gets picked up. Let's just go there.
I think that Jasmine's going to come back.
Okay.
And maybe the whole like relationship between her and Joe is going to like grow more. I think that Ned and Joe's relationship is kind of like not going too well right now.
Okay.
Their friendship. And I don't know. I think Cohen may be the next big wig.
Next big wig. Natasha, what do you think?
I agree with the Jasmine and Joe. You got to bring back. You got to have that element of romance. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in a noir pick.
And because it's so harsh and it's so dark, you need that kind of hopeful relationship for
you
people
need that sexy lady in a yellow dress. That's what you need.
I was actually gonna say that I think maybe she should be killed off, and there should be a new blonde introduced.
A blonde bombshell. Who doesn't love a blonde bombshell in a red dress?
In a red dress.
No, but I agree. I think that you know, there's so much potential between that and both of their characters that could be something that comes back. Ned and Joe I actually disagree. I think that maybe their relationship could take a new turn after the events that have just happened. So
for the good or for the bad?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It was hard to tell between, obviously, what happened. But there was a lot of exchange happening without words. And so I felt like...
A lot of physical.
Yeah, it was interesting. But I couldn't really depict exactly, like, is that a...
It might go either way.
Yeah.
I think that it was very ambiguous, but I think that it could go more to the good. I think that I could see more with them having a closer relationship where maybe they together are involved in something either on the bad side or the good side. I don't know which side they'll be on, but them in a relationship where they're working closer together.
Right.
I think what they have as a friendship is probably stronger than any of the relationships in the show, other than obviously Jasmine and Joe.
Right.
In terms
let's not forget though. Also, the whole. Sorry, I totally just cut you off.
No, you go.
But the story behind changing the corrupt LA.
Right. Yeah. So we've got soon-to-be police chief Bill Parker.
Yes.
And Tug, who was shot in the scene where they tried to break in and kill Carl. That he was saying he's starting this internal crimes affairs unit.
I don't trust him.
So do you think Bill
I don't
Parker?
trust Parker.
I think that's a common sentiment.
It's his weird hair. It's that gray blonde hair that he has. Neil McDonough, you're amazing at everything you do, but
he's too pretty. Like there's something about him that you don't.
There's not enough gruffness of him.
Yeah.
To be. Well, I mean that's why, and he's pretty because that's good is the side of pretty, right?
Right.
So all the good guys are always pretty, except Joe Teague.
Except the bad ones.
Except the bad ones that get beat up a lot. So I mean, yeah, I agree. There's so many options that they have for the show. So let's just hope that TNT gets smart, picks it up.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool. So thank you for joining us here on the Mob City After Show, episodes 5 and 6. Oxpecker and Stay Down. Anik Dufour, tell us where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Anik Dufour. My website, anikdufour.com.
Ms. Estrada, tell us where they can find you as well.
You can find me at natashaestrada.com, Instagram, Natasha Estrada. Everything's just Natasha Estrada.
And your Twitter?
That's Viva La Cholita.
Viva La Cholita. Yes, long. And I'm Ryan Hooks. You can find me at RyanHooks92 at Yahoo, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat.
Plenty of Fish, Match.com.
Plenty of Fish, eHarmony.
Also
OK Cupid available.
Yes.
Zeus.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you can find us on the interweb, anywhere and everywhere. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Mob City After Show. We hope to see you soon for episode 7. Let's just go for that hope. Okay, thanks for tuning in and have a good night. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.